we have here peak aerodynamics going on here. We have a customer who went out on a quest to go ahead and find everything he could do to make himself more aerodynamic on the bike. So this is exactly what you guys see here. Yes, that is a 64 tooth chainring. It's a one by. We'll get into all the details very soon, but this is the Orbea Orca Aero frame set in a size 57, weighing at 9.17 kgs and 20 pounds 3 ounces, as you guys see. We'll go over all the details on this bicycle right here. All right, so we have here in front of you guys an Aero machine, and a little bit of backstory behind this entire buildup. This customer, a really cool experience to be a part of this whole entire build, but he just said, hey, he used to race back in the day. He used to be the state TT champion a while ago, where he used to race at for his age group, and he just wants something now that he can build up and ride along A1A, a nice looking Aero bike that he can feel comfortable in. So this is a size 57 Orbea Orca Aero. He's about my height, but he wanted to be pretty similar in terms of the seat height to stack height on there as well, to be a little bit more aerodynamic, and so he can kind of get into a comfortable TT position on the bars, which is what we have right here, which I'll talk about those handlebars in just a second. But because coming from his background of TT, he's like, hey, I want massive chainring, I want deep wheels, I want aerodynamics out the butt, and this is the whole reason why he went with the Orbea Orca Aero, was to get those Aero gains from the Aero water bottles and also the storage system underneath the down tube as well. So the bike took a very long time outsourcing parts from everywhere. I don't sell this bar, I don't sell the stem, I didn't sell a Swiss size, so we were kind of just parting out pieces, looking at what will work and ordering them as they come, and also getting the frame from Spain took a little bit longer than what we thought as well. But obviously the main talking point about this bike is that massive Digirit carbon fiber 64 tooth chainring. And the bike came out phenomenal. Now, when he said 64 tooth chainring, I'm like, there's no way that frame's gonna clear that at all. But we have clearance, and it might be because of the fact of that that spider on there is running on the outer side of it. But that crank is older as well. That's an older SRAM red crank in a GXP configuration, because he had that crank from he bought and just had it laying around. So he's like, hey, I want to use this to make it work. But everything about this bike was thought about when we picked up the parts, from the rotor covers for aerodynamics to the wheels to the stems, the handlebar. And let's go ahead and break this whole thing down. So very cool to be a part of this build. Very happy about it. I got to ride it around. I'm like, I don't even know if I could push that 64 tooth chainring. I rode around that middle gear right there, and I like it. It's very fun. It's very Florida. It's a perfect Florida bike. We have no hills here. It's a badass looking bike. So very, very cool. All right, so enough yapping. Let's start off with the parts. So on here, we have the Lambda tuning crosswing bar. This bar kind of came out right around the time that UCI started banning the tilt-in shifters on here to accommodate a more natural sweep of the shifters. So these are UCI legal. I believe it's a 33 on the upper and a 36 on the lower, so they meet the UCI requirements. But that way you can run a natural tilt or a tilt-in shifters, and they are still UCI legal because they go to the natural angle of the bar. Very small handlebars, but the whole idea is that he wants to be laying down like this majority of the time while riding, and he's just looking to go on cruise. He's not, you know, he wants a nice bike for fun for himself, and he did this all for himself in that matter. So we did Silca handlebar tape, the Lambda tuning, and the 33 and 36, and yeah, I like it. This is my second time seeing this bar in person, my first time working with it, but I think it's a cool looking bar. Very, very cool. Very shallow or short drops on here that I noticed, and it felt kind of weird on there. A 140 millimeter stem on here, which is really nice. He tried going with a different data stem, but the faceplate on here didn't work with the handlebar right here. It was limiting to how wide this was, so we just went with the data box 140 stem on here. We had to order in a specific Dita headset and spacer kit to work with the stem on here, so it came out looking really good. And he kept an upright stack in there. Again, a little bit taller stack, he can get into his comfortable Aero position, so it all worked out for that rider. He is riding a Shimano Ultegra 11 speed on here. That's the one thing I would change. I'll go 12 speed, but he, again, likes the preference of the 11 speed. He said he didn't need the 12 speed. He just wanted to be in the 11 speed. This is what he's used to. This is what he's known. So we went with 11 speed Ultegra on there. For the wheel set on here, we went with the Swiss side Hadrons in a 62.5 depth, and we went with the, he chose the Swiss sides mainly because of the fact of their aerodynamic background. They have the bladed spokes, they have the internal hidden nipples for better aerodynamics. Swiss side's been doing a lot of work with sponsoring Van Ryssel's team recently, and they do a lot of good aerodynamic work on there. So He chose his wheel set. He went with a 62.5 in the front and an 80 in the rear. So again, some pretty deep boys for down here in South Florida. And the tires he chose were the Schwalbe Pro 1 TTs. Again, for the lighter tire, these are going to be similar to the Continental 5000 TTs. Very, very thin tires for better rolling speeds and less rolling resistance. And they were pretty lightweight too. We went with TPU tubes inside there to also lighten up the load and help with less rolling resistance on there as well. Now for the cool little alternatives on here. We went with 140 Shimano Dura-Ace disc brake rotors, along with these Evolve carbon fiber Aero disc covers, which I think are really cool. A nice little novelty item, but they look pretty badass and to help improve aerodynamics on there. And then down here you can see we have the storage system, which he's not planning on using. He just wanted for the added aerodynamics. As much carbon, as much material you can put in these areas inside your frame and inside here, that's going to help with aerodynamics to help continue that airflow all the way through the bike. So that's what we're looking to do. Bottom bracket, we went with the Kogel ceramic bottom bracket inside there that worked with the GXP. So we went ahead and outfitted that. He was familiar with Kogel on there. Beautiful raw carbon on the top with the Orca Aero. 2 Aero Orbea water body cages again to make that space as tidy as possible. And then here for the chainring. He is running 175 crank arms. I think that's just, again, what he's been used to. I know everyone's going shorter on there, but obviously people have their similar riding styles, what they want. You have the old school style cork power meter and a 5-bolt configuration of 130 BCD. And then that 64 tooth chainring, which is, I really did not think that thing was gonna fit. When he brought it in, I was like, I don't think it's gonna fit on the bike. Surprise to me, it does. It works perfect. There's no issues on there. Yeah, very, very nice. We have a Dura-Ace chain on there that works for it. And then you guys are thinking, well, what cassettes do you run in the back? Well, he thought about that as well. He wanted to make sure that he had basically a nice gearing. He only uses 2 or 3 gears. He wanted a nice gearing for the back here. So in the back, we have a Miche, M-I-C-H-E cassette, and it's a 14 by 28. So this bottom tooth cog on here is a 14 tooth, and then it goes up from there. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever it is, to 28. Very surprised in the quality. They work really good. Actually, the pairing and the shifting on here works really, really nice. And yeah, it's like I said, it's pretty fun to ride around in that gearing. Ultegra rear derailleur, 11-speed with the cycling ceramic Aero cage that he bought himself. Let me get some sunlight in there so you guys can see. Again, trying to be as Aero as possible, which is really cool. That's a good look at that Swiss side 80 Hadron on there. And then for rotors, again, a 140 rear rotor on there as well. Saddle, he's gonna choose out himself. We just threw the saddle on there. He's gonna go with a seat that he's a little bit more comfortable on. But I think the bicycle came out beautiful. It's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, of course. Everyone's gonna, people in the northern states are gonna think, you know, what the hell is that monstrosity of a dinner plate chainring? But a very cool looking bike. I am blown away by this thing. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And we'll hopefully get some more content on this bike very, very soon. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for the Frio Body Sound test. Here goes the Frio Body Sound test on this Swiss side wheel. Quiet, low drag, better speed, better, yeah.